Hi everyone, and welcome to my season start level 1 gambling and cubing guide. So there are a few little details that have changed since the last time, and I want to bring you in all the details about all the different classes, what you go for and how you can level the fastest. I recently posted this on maxroll.gg, so you might have seen this already. If not, then go check it out. This is like a huge new website that we have created together with some of the top Diablo community members and theory crafters, and this is just one little piece of that. We have guides for everything there for season 22, for all the builds, for all the mechanics, and there's a lot of stuff here, so go check it out if you haven't. That aside, let's jump into it. So you have the challenge with rewards here, and you get 15 bounty mats, which you can use for cubing items, for getting the canonized cube powers. You can upgrade one level 70 weapon with the death breath that you get. It costs 25 death breath, you get 35, and you get 475 blood shards on top of some of the other materials and some gold. So this gets you started. With the 475 blood shards, you can gamble exactly 19 items if you're not gambling your rings or anything else. And this yields a 86.5% chance to get an item if like any legendary of any of the 25 cost items. So you have a pretty good chance to get at least a gambling outcome in most cases. And as for the crafting, some classes have it a bit easier by having pretty much only good outcomes. For example, the Demon Hunter with daggers, there's only 2 daggers and both of them are decent. But the Demon Hunter is not really top tier. Then you have some other classes where you have like 1 or 2 really good options, something like the Barber for the Witch Doctor, for example, but everything else kind of sucks. And well, the rest is somewhere in between, where like 1/3 or half of the outcomes are pretty good, and then the rest is not really. Generally, you want to upgrade a rare level 70 weapon of your class. So this means that we have 2-handed scythes for the Necromancer, we have 2-handed mighty weapons for the Barb, we have Daibos for the Monk, etc. So it's always the class-specific weapons that have the really nice multipliers and have the best odds of getting you something. And for the gambling, it's usually something like the Bracer or the Offhand for the caster classes that can also give you some good stuff here. So let's jump into it with the Barbarian here. We have the 2-handed mighty weapons you want to craft, and we have the gamble bracer. So for the 2-handed mighty weapons, you actually have pretty good odds. 4 out of 6 are pretty decent results. The best ones are probably the seismic slam and the hammer of the ancient weapons here, because first of all, they are both pretty good for just one item, and on top of that, you can combine them with the level 1 gambling choice, which are also the bracers that synergize both with seismic slam and with Hammer of the Ancients. So this is pretty nice, especially if you get a combo, you're going to be blasting as a Barbarian. If you play in a group and you go for something like a rat setup, for example, with like 3 Necros, 1 Barb, then yeah, you don't really have to care too much about the DPS. You're going to be a support all the way, and in this case, you can also go for a Band of Might at level 1. It's the only wing you can get there, so it costs a bit more, so the chances are not really that great, but you probably have something like a 40% chance or so to get the Band of Might here, which will be a big boon for your leveling process. The good thing about the Barbarian is that you have almost a guaranteed result here just from the gambling, so even if your weapon doesn't hit, you still have something, and you can probably blast, at least like Torment 1, Torment 2 or so in most cases. And if you get a combo, you can probably go, much higher. You're just gonna be a bit squishy, so gotta be careful with that. Next is the Crusader. We craft flails. It can be either 1-handed or 2-handed flails. The thing is that you have slightly better odds for 2-handed flails. You have 4 out of 8 that are pretty decent. There's a Blessed Shield one. You have Fatal to Fell for the Heaven's Fury. We have Golden Flense for the sweep. This one is especially nice. And we have the Mortal Drama as well. So all of these are pretty decent, but the best one is actually a 1-handed weapon. This is the Darklight here, Fist of the Heavens, and it's a huge bonus. So if you decide to gamble for this one, this will probably be what you want to aim for, and how you can be kind of competitive with other classes. So this item alone will carry you all the way to 70. Alternatively, it's also possible to try to go for a combo. So you can go something like Denial plus the Golden Flense. So it kind of depends on what you upgrade, and then you decide what to gamble. You can go either for shields or for the bracers, because you have the sweep shield here. So if you get a Golden Flense, you have a nice combo. You have the same with the hammers here. So in case you get Johanna's Argument, for example, As a one-handed flail, you can go for those bracers, and you can even go for a shield. So there's 3 items that you could potentially get if you're super lucky. And other than that, you can also combine stuff with the blessed shield, but only at a higher level. So at level 23 is the blessed shield bracers, and at level 33 are the Heron's Fury bracers. So Crusader overall is not very great, but it does work when you get a combo. Here's the Demon Hunter. So Demon Hunter has it quite easy. You have 2 good results, and 2 out of 2 when you craft daggers. So you can get the Lord Greenstone's Fan, which is the better choice here with Fan of Knives, and then you have Karlei's Point, which is also not terrible. So this helps you a lot with the leveling, and you can combine this with the Holy Point shot at level 31. You can try to go for the gamble with the quivers, and the chances are not really great because there's 4 quivers at that point, and if you get it, it's really nice. I've done this once actually, and I leveled from 1 to 70 in 1.5 hours pretty easily. This can definitely be optimized to down to like 1 to 115 maybe. So overall this works pretty well if you get a combo. If you don't, then it's a bit of a bummer. And otherwise, if you get a Lord Greenstone, this is really good because you can just make huge massacre bonuses, go to Temple of the Firstborn, kite all these little bugs together, blow them up with a Fan of Knives on like Torment 5 or so, and then try to keep up your massacre by just kiting, you know, more stuff. So as long as you can dodge pretty well, you can kite pretty well, you can keep your massacres very easily, and like this you get massive XP, and you can do solo 1 to 70 in like 1 hour or so if you do it well. So this is pretty nice, and it only requires a 50-50 for this one item here and nothing else. If you get the Lord Greenstone, you can actually gamble other stuff. For example, Bracers is a really good choice here with Wrath of Clarity for the damage reduction. It's 100% chance at level 1. There's also the Rogue's Crown, which you can gamble for 100% chance at level 1. And other than that, you can just try to keep the rest for later. For example, at level 34, you have a very small chance to get a nice series satchel, which would also boost you by a lot if you get it. So this is basically a lucky draw here. If you ever manage to have some blood shards over, or you just try your luck anyway to get ready for when you're level 70, because you get the God set and you definitely want to have this covered in. Here's the Monk. For the Monk we have the Daibos that we want to craft. There are 2 out of 8, so the odds are pretty bad when you upgrade. One is the Balance for the Tempest Rush, and one is the Incense Stones of the Grand Temple. So yet again though, we have the combos. So we have the level 1 gambling choices, which are bracers, and there's 3 pretty decent bracers actually. One is the Pinto's Bride for Wave of Light, the one is the Caesar's Memento for Tempest Rush, and the other one is the Gangdo Gear, which actually got buffed in Season 22. So all of these will definitely boost you a lot. One of the better ones is probably Gangdo Gear on its own. You can just palm stuff and then have the chain reactions and they blow up everything. That is pretty nice. It can be pretty useful, especially in groups, just from this one item, and it's a very high chance that you get it. So this is neat, and then you can do some kind of like support slash exploding palm slash like cyclone strike monk, and have someone else, you know, start a chain reaction for you, and then you can actually be quite useful, even all the way to probably like torment 4, 5, 6. So this is pretty nice. And otherwise, yeah, you have to just try to make do with what you get. So one of the bracers is almost guaranteed, and then maybe get lucky to get a combo here with one of the other items. If you do, then this is going to be very smooth. Otherwise, yeah, not really that great, but try to make use of your items that you get. For the Necromancers, we have the 2-handed Scythes. So there are 2 really good results, and there are 2 still pretty good results. The 2 best ones are the Bloodtide Blade and Reilena Shadowhook. So these are the 2 that you would like. And then there's also Martorial's Petrified Spike, which gives you damage to Bone Spear, which you want later for the Bone Spear set. There's also nice Black Death, which is pretty nice because you can just, you know, spam a few poison skills, and that also gives you a pretty nice multiplier. But overall, those 2 are the best here, especially Bloodtide Blade is very strong. Basically, as soon as you have like 5 or 10 targets or so, you can do a lot of damage with just a cast, and blast stuff on the higher torments just with that item alone. So all of these are pretty much decent options here, no matter what you get, and you can guarantee pretty fast times as a Necromancer if you do it well. So you can go down to like even 40 minutes or so with like a super good run. 1 hour is not even that crazy. I did that recently, and I was not really trying too hard. I didn't really have any crazy luck. And you can definitely expect pretty good times as a Necromancer almost no matter what. In terms of gambling, you want to go for Grasp of Essence pretty much for every single one of these outcomes, because it's just such a good item. Corpse Explosion is very strong, and this buffs it even more. So Grasp of Essence is the way to go. There's only one exception, and that is when you get Reilena Shadowhook from the upgrade, you want to go for rings instead. Because of rings you can get Circle of Naluge, and like this you can do kind of like a skeletal mage build quite early on already. And if you're even more lucky, you can try to go for the Raz's Volition at level 19. And like this you can do another piece of the combo, and you can even get the Singularity mages before you even have the rune for it. So that is pretty neat. It's quite unlikely that this happens, but I just wanted to mention this here. So in short, Necromancer is basically good across the board, and you just play around whatever two-handed scythe you craft, and then go with Corpse Explosion, try to make it happen, and it should be no big deal to go at least into Torment 1 or 2. As long as you're not dying too much. Here's the Witch Doctor. Witch Doctor has the lowest chances to get anything good from the crafting. We have the Barber and you have the Dagger of Darts. And Dagger of Darts is also already not that crazy, because you need to actually summon all those fetishes in the first place. So you do this with the Fetish Army or with the Fetish Sycophants from the passive, and then you can get these poison darts. If you do that, then yeah, it's pretty good. The Barber is definitely very strong, especially because this also combines with the level 1 gambling from Gazing Demise, which is 100% chance to get at level 1. So yeah, you have a very high chance to get this offhand here. And if you get a combo, this is going to be sick. You're going to be destroying. Even if you don't have the combo, the Gazing Demise alone will do quite some work. And well, since it's such a high chance to get it, you're going to have pretty decent leveling no matter what. But yeah, in terms of upgrading, not really good chances, and almost everything is pretty much trash there. In case you do get the Dagger of Darts, you can try to go for a Carnival or a Mask of Jaram at level 34. The chances are quite low, but in case you actually saved all your blood shards until then, it's actually not terrible, and then you can basically blast all your way to level 70 quite easily. Or if you get absolutely nothing, then you should probably try to play around your dot skills like Haunt, Locust Swarm, and then maybe some pets like the Zombie Dogs and the Gargantuan. And finally, here's the Wizard. So for the Wizard, we have 4 out of 10 good results with the wands, so we want to upgrade those. There's 2 items for Hydras. So we have the Fragment of Destiny, we have the Serpent Sparker. This is probably one of the best outcomes here. You also have the Wand of Woe that you can use for Explosive Blast. This is pretty neat because you can just walk in, make a pull, and explode everything around you and repeat. So even without crazy cooldown reduction, without Obsidian Ring and these kind of things, you're gonna be blasting quite nicely here. Unstable Scepter is also pretty big here. Unfortunately, you get the best rune, Frozen Orb, quite late, but all the other runes also kind of work. You don't really have that big AoE, it's quite resource hungry, but you're gonna do a lot of damage with this. In terms of gambling, Wizard is looking pretty weak though, and it's not really that great. So at level 1 you can go for Winter Flurry, which got recently buffed, and like this you can actually buff your Hydras a little bit. So in case you get some synergy here, this is actually not bad. But aside from that, you don't really have very much. There's the Edge Sigil at level 33. Make sure you do it exactly at level 33, because at 34 there's more offense in the pool, and all of them are pretty bad. And here you have a 50% chance to get Edge Sigil. So this is still one of the better options, so you can decide that in case you don't get anything for your Hydra, then there's not really a point in trying to go for the Winter Flurry. So if you don't have any weapon, maybe save all the blood shots until 33, try to go for Edge Sigil at least, and you still have a pretty decent chance with this, and then the Twisters can kind of carry you all the way. But yeah, Wizard is not really looking great. It has a pretty weak leveling in general, but this is what it is. I'd also like to mention that you can check out the Kadala Table yourself here. So you can just go to this website here, link it in the description, and you can select your class, you can select the level, and it will show you which results you can get. For example, what is the average blood shard costs, and how are things looking when you can equip these items, etc. So this is pretty neat, and this is also how I actually made this guide. So I just went here and looked at the different options. So you can also decide, during the leveling process, you might have some leftover blood shards, and maybe you want to make some combo with one of the upgraded weapons that you have. You can, just look here and just check, when the items become available. For example, if you have it at max level, you can see when each item is available the first time. And well, the earlier that is, the more easily you can gamble them and try to make a combo with them. So I'm going to leave you with this. I hope you enjoyed this guide, and it's going to help you to get started in the season. I wish you all good luck, and see you guys next time.